Griffin-Hammis Associates has over 30 years of experience providing training and technical assistance to support individuals across the spectrum of disabilities to become self-employed and small business owners. We want to thank the U.S. Small Business Administration and the National Disability Institute in leading the Community Navigator pilot program that creates the space for this webinar. While the webinar is funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration, all of the opinions, conclusions, and recommendations expressed here are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the views of the SBA. At the end of today's session, we'll share upcoming events, and the National Disability Institute team will share some exciting information with you about the Small Business Hub and resources available to you. I am thrilled to introduce you to today's guest speakers. First, please meet Andrea and Mona Freedman. Andrea is the founder and owner of Puppy Love Dog Boutique. Andrea started her entrepreneurial journey at the age of 17 when she started her first business as a kiosk in a mall called Andy's Candies after completing an internship at a candy store. Andy's Candies grew into a shared retail space where Andrea really learned how to stock, record sales, pay rent, hire team members, and market her business. Andrea transitioned into a larger space, and with that came additional products and collectibles. This transition allowed Andrea to rent space out to other businesses. And due to property closures, Andrea transitioned her entrepreneurial spirit and opened a store called The Sport Nut, where she sold sports apparel and gear. And this happened to be perfect timing, which led to a large profit as the Baltimore Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2012. Through this time and a small decline in sales, Andrea combined her skills and interests to starting her current business called Puppy Love Dog Boutique. She sells dog food, treats, gear, supplies, and gifts. Andrea has since become a professional dog groomer and has become extremely reputable with her products and services. Puppy Love Dog Boutique and Spa is thriving with grooming appointments being booked out 3 months in advance, adding an additional grooming assistant and turning profit. Andrea is joined today by her mother, Mona Freedman. Entrepreneurship definitely runs in the family, as Mona is a founder and operator, along with her husband, Jay, of Caring Communities, Milestone Media Group, and Limelight Music School. With Mona's leadership, Caring Communities founded the World of Possibilities Disabilities Expo, which we'll hear more about later, and Rockable School programs and Charm City Downtown. Our other guest speaker today is Lorraine Woodward of Becoming rentABLE. Lorraine is the creative energy officer and founder of Becoming rentABLE. As front person for Becoming rentABLE, Lorraine guides the entire team with creative ideas that will positively impact the lives of people with disabilities and their families. She maintains a hectic and busy schedule as a wife, mother, volunteer, artist, accessible rental property host, and an ultimate Duke basketball fan. She finds joy by hanging out with her family, thrifting with her friends, staying at her beach house, listening to music, and being an unofficial ice cream connoisseur. Becoming rentABLE strives to bring visibility to the need for accessible, short-term rentals for people with mobility, vision, hearing, intellectual and developmental disabilities, and for individuals on the autism spectrum through education about accessible design, construction, and renovation. To Lorraine, Andrea, and Mona, thank you so much for being here today. I'm honored to share time and energy and space with the three of you to learn more about how you created Puppy Love Dog Boutique and Becoming rentABLE, how you knew it was a good fit for you, and how you've grown your team. and really being able to use the knowledge and experience of your current business as well as your previous businesses. And lastly, I hope that this conversation serves to really inspire and guide those that are tuning in today.
Thank you.
Right. We have Lorraine and Andrea in for Spotlight. Perfect. All right. So Andrea and Mona, do you want to share a little bit about Puppy Love Dog Boutique and just tell us how you started your business and why?
Well, I started my Puppy Love Dog Boutique and Spa after the Sports Nut. I ended up getting into it because I have a Maltese and a Beagle. And so I started bathing my Beagle, but then I got interested of actually learning how to groom my Maltese. So I went to grooming school, and Doors helped me out by giving me my grooming supplies and actually put me through the school. And I learned how to groom 101. So I learned how to groom a couple of different breeds and learn how to groom her dogs, my teacher's dogs. And that's really how I became and learned how to groom and start my dog boutique and grooming.
The school was an hour and a half from the house, and she's not a driver. So a couple of times a week, I was taking classes too, nursing, and she was driving her out to take her classes, and she really wasn't going to be able to do the college curriculum. So the woman took her back to her house and taught her one-on-one at her grooming facility, and she actually got the Cecil County College certificate. So she's a certified dog groomer. And very few schools here in Maryland. I don't think there are any schools. So it's, yeah, she's one of very few certified groomers in the state.
That's incredible. And Andrea, I just want the chance for you to share why your grooming business is so unique and why it probably the reason why it has so many advanced bookings, because you focus on one animal at a time. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, so I do one dog, one family at a time. So the one family can even have more than one dog, but we do one dog at a time, and there is no crates or crate drying. So we don't put them in crates. I work on them at the time that they come in and the time they leave. I call them a half an hour before they're done, so that way they can come back and pick them up. And then we do another dog after that, another family comes in. So we do one family at a time, and that's why, and I get a lot of old dogs that has very bad anxiety. And I also get puppies that also has anxiety too. So they all love it because they don't have to keep them in the crate for 6 hours before they get groomed. They get groomed immediately, and then they come and pick it up. So they don't have to worry about that. They just go home afterwards.
I love that customer focused attention. Perfect. Lorraine, can you please tell us a little bit about your business, how you started it, and maybe the why or mission of becoming rentABLE?
Sure. I actually have been an entrepreneur the majority of my career. And so I've been focused for the last, I hate to say, 40 plus years in the area of disability and education. I have muscular dystrophy and I have two young boys. Well, they're not young. They're young, but not young. They're 26 and 27. So in my world, they're young. So there's three of us with muscular dystrophy in our family. And so I've always looked at opportunities because it's my passion about education and disability. So this is my fourth business venture in my career. And I was 59 going on 60. And one day I said, I want to have one last hurrah in my business efforts. And I did the what brings me joy, what brings me happiness, and found out I love being at our beach house, which has an accessible short-term rental. We've had over 400 families stay at our property, and am just amazed that in the year 2023 now, how difficult it is to find an accessible short-term rental property. And, for our family, it was really difficult in finding places that we could vacation that met our needs. But I thought, we're just a unique family because there's 3 of us traveling with disabilities. But I found out we are unique, but we're not unique in the aspect of having a difficult time in finding an accessible short-term rental. So when I turned 60 in 2022, I made a decision to start this business and to really make a difference so that travel would not be as challenging to find if you had a disability. And so we started Becoming rentABLE. And I could tell you hours about our business. I'll try to limit it. But we are a listing platform. If people are interested in looking and finding an accessible short-term rental property, you can visit becomingrentable.com. And oh, good, somebody put it in the chat. Thank you. And it's a free service. We have over 1,200 accessible properties in our map, which makes us have more validated accessible properties than Airbnb and VRBO combined. So we're really proud of that. We also historically know that the short-term rental industry has focused only on wheelchair. But through research and surveys that we conducted, we realized that a lot of us in the disability community have that desire to travel. So our company has expanded what accessible travel looks like in the short-term rental industry, as you had said earlier, to include mobility, which is walkers and wheelchairs and canes and crutches, cognitive disabilities, which are intellectual disabilities, people on the autism spectrum, vision, sight, and our aging. And we provide educational information. What we did realize is we were trying to come up with an idea of, what are the 10 things that would make your property accessible? But what we found out is what is accessible to me may not be accessible to you. So we can't make that decision of what an accessible property looks like. Only you, the traveler, can make that decision. And we felt that the easiest way to do that was creating a set of filters so that you could identify what your needs are. For me, I need a hard surface driveway. So when I bring my van to the property, I can set out my ramp and get to the door. And then I need to get to the door, which means a ramp, no steps, a 0 threshold entry. I want to get to the bedroom, the bathroom, the living room, the backyard. And I click those filters, and then we populate what is available. So it's a very exciting venture, an opportunity to work with people in the disability community. It's an opportunity for my family that can benefit, and an opportunity for us to educate an industry that is not familiar about what it means to have a disability and what it means to be accessible.
Incredible. Yeah, that's just one word for it. And someone had written down, that is amazing, in the chat. Now, the next question I have for the group is, can you share what resources you used when you were in the beginning stages of your business? So maybe it was a small business development center, or working with an accountant, or what kind of resources and tools did you use to really start your business? Andrea, do you want to go first?
Sure. So to start my business, I had my parents to help, and also had doors to help, and
Mhm.
they all helped me start the business by going to school and starting to groom and
Business plan.
the business plan, and got me really knew how to do all of it.
We also had a best friend who was a CPA who, has kind of helped the family. So, start setting up some of the, systems in place and just it's a lot of mommy and daddy power, but she is, entirely independent with it. Cash register, ordering supplies, hiring, firing. I know nothing about any of that. She can't say, "Oh, mommy, can you do the cash register for me?" I can't even do the things that she could do. So, she has really, really come a long way with learning. And once she had, gotten on a roll, she does really pick up and can do these things independently.
That's wonderful. I love that you shared that you had a community to really lean on, and these natural supports to help you get started with your puppy love shop. Lorraine, what about you? What resources did you use to really get started in the beginning stages of becoming rentABLE?
I definitely have a different set of interest. I went to college with the idea of following my family's dreams. I didn't know really what I wanted to do and what I felt like I could do growing up with a disability, and knowing that my physical abilities were not as strong as possibly my intellectual abilities. So after college, I had the opportunity to go work in DC for my congressman. And my mom had thought that I would come back, go to law school, and take care of her. And I realized that when I left home, that wasn't my dream. And to really look at what I wanted to do and have an opportunity to really reflect on my gifts and talents and look at what they were. I didn't have a lot of self-confidence in my abilities. And so where my first business came from was from my boss. From DC, I went to head up the communications department for Easter Seals, North Carolina. It was a new position for the organization. I excelled in communications. I felt fortunate to give this opportunity for this opportunity, and I came on board. About a year and a half later, my boss, Adele Fosha, for those of you who might have ever worked with Adele, an amazing woman, came to me and said, "Lorraine, we are no longer in a financial position to keep you at full time, that we can keep you part-time. But I believe in your gifts and talents and would like to help you start a business." Now, never in a million years did I think that I would be an entrepreneur. I did not know what that meant. I didn't know the responsibilities, and I didn't understand how I could create a business. And so in the beginning of my career, it really was being guided by somebody who believed in me. And I think that so many times as we're building our careers at different stages of our life, I was young, I was in my early 20s. And the idea of somebody else having faith in me and wanting to hold my hand and guide me through that experience has helped me build, my businesses throughout the year. And now I feel comfortable that I could come and talk about building a team, which I never thought that would be me. And so my sources really were leaning on leaders who believed in me and helped guided me.
Thank you so much. Now, Andrea, when we last talked, you were thinking about hiring another groomer. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Have you hired another person yet to join your team?
Still looking. There's not that many groomers out there. I think once 2020 happened, a lot of groomers retired or went out of business, because I'm actually, unfortunately, the youngest groomer out there. So there's a lot of people who've been doing grooming for over 20 years. And so I think around 2020, it kind of made it where, okay, since the pandemic happened, it made a good time for them to retire. So now there's not too many groomers out there who's willing to groom. So no, I'm still looking for a groomer. We did put a groomer out there to advertise, but it's just I'm still doing it by myself with the grooming assistant.
And she's not that
Yeah.
keen on training someone. She likes to concentrate on what she's doing. It's kind of very physical. It's kind of a dangerous job. You're cutting with very sharp scissors and blades and so forth. So she's really not that thrilled about taking someone in with not a lot of experience and being a teacher. And that's another, concern. And even a grooming assistant is difficult because you have to work in a small area and train and trust people that they'll show up. And around your cash register, when you're an entrepreneur, around money,
Yeah,
you're
it's hard.
nervous.
It's hard to trust people and be a team player. See, in grooming, you also have to be a team player and also know how to groom, but also you have to listen to the clients, because if you don't, they'll get mad at you because you're not listening. And a lot of groomers also do that. They also don't listen to the customers and they get all mad. And so you also have to be a team player. And it's also hard to get a groomer, but also be a team player and listen to the customers as well.
Is it okay
Yeah.
if show the audience some pictures? This is
Sure.
trailer. She had a grooming van and that was very, very old. And this is a brand new trailer that is completely paid off. Very proud mother. This is the inside of her store, which is got a lot of unique items and food and supplies. And this is Dad up on a ladder, putting the sign to the store up. So we're her parents and we are downstairs kind of in the same building. We're in the basement of her store right now, which is next to our music school. So we kind of have a little family operation here where if something really does go wrong with the trailer physically or the lights go out or something like that, we are there to support her. But oftentimes she's here alone. So
Yeah. And I know that you have hired past team members from previous businesses, and then you are now looking for that second groomer. But what would you say you prioritize in kind of when you hire someone to join your team? What do you really look for in someone? And how does it feel like to kind of shift into that leader and boss position?
Well, I look for someone that I can trust. I also look for someone who can do a really good grooming job, and also look for someone who doesn't steal. And also be a person that is going to pay attention to what the customers want.
good personality.
And good personality, friendly with the customer service. My company and business is always have good customer service. And that's another reason why a lot of my clients like me is because I have good customer service. I groom really well and I love their dogs, and we do one and pay attention to them as well.
I think a powerful part in growing your team is knowing that every single person on that team is going to represent you and your business.
Yes.
And it sounds like you are in that position to really find that person who can do that. Lorraine, what about you? As you have grown your team, what are those important factors that you really prioritize as you've shifted into that leader and that boss? And what do you look for in potential team members?
You know, my first company was Woodward Communications. It was a full service communications firm specializing in marketing communications for nonprofits and people in the healthcare industry. So when I started, Adele was holding my hand and I thought, oh, I can do it all. And I realized very quickly that no, I couldn't do it all. And then I had to do a lot of self-analysis. What honestly to myself was I good at? What were my talents? What wasn't I good at? Where did I need help? And that took a while to recognize and learn. And so in the beginning at Woodward Communications, I used contractors. I didn't feel that I was in a financial position, and nor did I understand what it would take to hire an employee. And so I chose to go with contractors. And in Woodward Communications, we looked at skill sets. I might have a client that needs a writer that's a technical writer versus a creative writer. So I looked very, in the beginning, at very specific skills. And I looked at those skills to be implemented per project of what my needs were. And that really helped me grow my business so that I did not have revenue going out that wasn't generating revenue to come in. And so with that analysis of what I knew I was good at, helped me with becoming rentABLE. Now, becoming rentABLE, we're in our second year. I own a stock photography company called Realistic Reflections. I still paint canes called Lorraine's Canes. And becoming rentABLE, I knew I would need a team. One, I recognized early on, I didn't want to work by myself, that I wanted to work with a team. And I think as, you know, people are looking at being entrepreneurs, to really look at that, identifying if you want to be a team player or if you're more comfortable working by yourself. And for me, I did not want to work by myself. I love working with a team. I believe together we can do anything, but single-handedly it's tough. And what's interesting about our approach at becoming rentABLE is we have 21 volunteers. We have no employees or contractors. We've established our first year and 3 quarters as a company based on their belief in what we're doing, which is called sweat equity. And so our team is comprised of individuals with disabilities or have a family member of a disability or are in the industry of disability. So for me, having that personal, practical experience and understanding disability was something that I wanted in everybody that was a part of our team. We're now into what we call the monetization stage, which is a stage I don't really like, and that's called, how do you bring in the money? And so we've identified that, and now it's time to bring in the money and time to hire. So we are now in the process of hiring contractors. I have business advisors. While I'm still at 61 years old, nervous about hiring employees, I congratulate you, Andrea, that you're willing to take that leap of faith. It's a little harder for me. I get the nervous Nellies thinking about that responsibility. So I'm taking for me, the easy road out and going contractors. But it also, again, lets me look at skill sets of what skills and abilities are missing in our business so that we can be successful.
Absolutely. Oh, go ahead.
If you hire employees, then you have the expenses that go along with actual employees, the workman's comp and
Health
Unemployment.
insurance.
so yeah, so there's those aspects, it's good to start off, with some contractual workers. That's what she did with the assistant who came in when she could, and it's kind of built up, and now she's a true employee, so.
Right.
I really love that you brought up that you can hire in a way that is best for your business. So that means for you, Lorraine, you're looking towards contractors. So I've gotten some questions in previous meetings of people asking, okay, so I have this business, it's going well. I'm personally very tired. At what point do I hire? Like, is there an exact mark, or is it just depending on A, B, and C? So when did you all know or start to think, I think it's time to hire someone to help with this?
For me, I work 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I am now really tired. And I don't have time to enjoy the beach when I go to the beach or participate in family activities. My nervousness is the financial responsibility of following through on my commitment to hire contractors. And it's only when I have contracts in place that I know, and when I'm hiring these contractors, I can identify a time frame which I know confidently and comfortably that I can pay them. And that's my, and for us with 21 volunteers, and that we've been doing this for almost 2 years now, I'm very sensitized to the fact that they haven't gotten paid, that they've put in sweat equity, they believe in what we're doing, they've proved their skills and abilities, and my heart's desire is to financially compensate them for the work that they've done. And it's only now that we've focused on bringing in money that I can now make that commitment, not only in good faith, but as a business leader, I know that they will be compensated for the period of time in which we can hire them for. And that was my big hurdle, is just knowing that I could follow through on that financial commitment, because it is a big deal when you bring on an employee or a contractor. But yet there's also a sense of company growth, that the only way we're going to grow is by getting more help that's talented. Like we'll be hiring someone to help us with our social media effort. Well, I'm 61. I still say VRBO. And my son the other day said, Mom, it's not VRBO, it's Verbo. You need to learn the language. So I don't feel that my 61-year-old brain is reaching people that are in their 20s that want to travel, in their 30s that want to travel, and that I need that youth perspective. And by hiring somebody to do that will not only take that element off my plate, but it will hopefully grow our business and our traction in a targeted audience space. So I've realized how we can grow by bringing on that financial, I call it a risk, in hiring people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Lorraine. Andrea, what about you? Was there a moment where you maybe looked around and said, I need help?
Yes. Since I've been booking all year round pretty much, except 3 months in advance, but I have majority of my clients booking all year round until next January. And I'm like, it's kind of physical and emotionally draining and tiring because I'm the only groomer. And I'm also the owner. So a lot of everyone wants me because I'm the owner. But I do work about 5 days a week, and I do work about 10 to 12 hours a day. And then the phone is actually connected to my cell phone. So I have people text messaging me and calling me even on days I don't even work. So yeah, I do work about 7 days a week, 5 days of physically grooming. And yeah, it's just tiring, but I take a lot of vacations.
As you should. Yeah. So,
It's
okay.
that she has another grooming table. The picture didn't reflect it, but another whole grooming setup and table inside the store now. So she is really ready to go, where she could take turns with another groomer. What we didn't, when you see a trailer, it looks like she's a mobile groomer. She's not a driver. So the landlord did not want any water type situations in the building. So the grooming trailer is parked out front. So she could have another groomer inside and just trade the time with the whole sink and tub and everything in the trailer. And also that one groomer could work for both groomers. That grooming assistant could work for both groomers. So she's all set up for having someone, but she doesn't, she's really leery about hiring, people, even if we could find them. She'd probably, I know Andrea would watch them like a hawk. She would make sure she could talk to the families. She might not like the way that they explain things to them. She has a way about her. She's a very quiet, mild-mannered person, and she's actually how old are you?
36.
She's 36. She does not look 36. So sometimes when people work for her, they don't treat her like she's the boss, because of her looks. And so she wants someone that's going to respect her and listen to her and do it the way that she likes to have it done, because it's her store. So there are some factors in hiring strangers, to come into her world.
Mhm. Yeah, understandable. Thank you for that. Lorraine, can you talk about, so right now you are kind of in that position to hire, but you have an amazing group of volunteers who are putting in their sweat equity. How did you find them?
Well, fortunately, I have had other businesses. So my first 4 that I reached out to worked with me and have worked with me for 25 years. So they were known people. And then I, like my boss, my former boss, Adele, reached out to me. I've reached out to others who I felt had gifts and talents that could benefit our company, and ask them, their interest. And then people have called me. That's been a big surprise. Today, I took a call from a gentleman from Georgia, and he is in the technical field. He was not calling about selling a product, but calling to reach out to say, I believe in what you're doing. And I've been in the travel industry and I want to do what I can to help you. And that relationship has started, and he's already, connected me with some national organizations for speaking opportunities. And so I think we're in a new industry that has not been developed. There's a lot of interest, particularly because of COVID and people traveling, because this is a new area of interest. People have curiosity, and so that they're reaching out to me. We have people I've physically never met. We have Zoom meetings every week, but I have a volunteer from New York. I have one from Portland, Oregon, Little Rock, Arkansas. I love geographically how the different folks at different levels. We have a retiree who is not interested in the working and making money, but making a difference. We have another lady who was a former reporter who was diagnosed about 15 years ago with a mental illness where she hasn't been able to work, but now she feels that she can, and she's a part of a team. So it's part of her personal growth. We have different situations where either I knew the person and their talents, or that they've come to me and shared those talents and looking for an opportunity to feel like that they want to be a part of a team. And it's having that open mind to work with and the talents from different people that I don't know. And it's a little different too in that it's volunteer. So when you have an employee, being a contractor and or a traditional employee, there's a set of responsibilities because you're getting compensated. But as a volunteer, there's not those parameters in place. So in a way, there's a risk that they identify a scope of work that they're going to volunteer to do, but yet their personal life or other responsibilities come in and they're not able to do that. So as the CEO of the company, it's addressing that, having open communication, recognizing and inviting diversity of skills, talents, and abilities, to our organization. So that has been, something that I've looking at and defining specific roles in what our volunteers are going to do. In fact, last night, we had a team meeting, and because of some new opportunities that we have, some of the roles are going to change. So I asked our team, we're not going to be focused in this area anymore of need, but we're going to need talents in this area. And 2 people said, I have full-time jobs and I'm not comfortable with that. So I'm going to have to leave the team. And that made me really, really sad because this team is about relationships. And I love seeing our team together every Tuesday night. And they're and learning about their personal growth as well as their professional growth, and the contributions that they've made have been tremendous. So, that's kind of the downside of contractors and volunteers, is that there is that that revolving concept of you're a part of our team now, and as we change and grow, that same team may not be put to, stay together. And so I'm learning a lot and to encourage. That was something last night of really encouraging our team members about the growth and the opportunities that we have. And particularly when I was surprised. What do you mean you don't, want to continue and doing something else? I didn't even consider that, because what we're doing is so fabulous. Of course, you're going to want to stay. But again, it has to be the right fit, and that's one of the things in contract work. Andrea, you talked about trust. That is huge. And there's a lot of things to think about as we're going through building our teams, and the emotional part of our team, and the responsibility as the CEOs of our companies. So there's a lot that does evolve and change and grow that we adjust to.
Thank you. Andrea and Mona, do you want to add anything to that?
Well, you also have to think about the future too, and where you want this to go, because Andrea has some type of rheumatoid arthritis from her dad. They think that, that kind of came from that side, but, she's functioning now, but there's, she's having some pain with it and trying to keep it under control. But what happens, if she can't physically do it? She can always guide someone and supervise, or, she needs to cut down hours. So yeah, you want to build your team so everything that you started doesn't fade away, you know, and that it can keep going, you know, as the company grows, because the need is there, obviously, for Andrea and for your company, you know.
Well, it's also, me and my dad were also talking about down the road, that I would still be working, but I would be a supervisor. So supervise the other groomers, still be there, probably maybe grooming 2 days, 3 days a week, and just limit my hours, but I'll still be there to tell people kind of what to do, how to do it. And then, but the business will still be there and making money and everything. It's just my life is gonna change as I get older.
And she's going to use the ABLE program. You know, she's in the process now, Maryland ABLE, to be able to put some of that money into an account, so she'll be able to access it, you know, as she gets older, and, you know, it has her, you know, resources where which is a great program. So you should look into ABLE also.
Thank you. I know that the both of you are so intentional with the growth process of building your team and growing your business. Andrea, do you ever see yourself as kind of with the instructor that taught you in that one-on-one setting? Do you ever see yourself in the future as being that potential instructor who works with one person at a time, or maybe having an apprentice?
I did think about it a couple of times here and there, actually maybe teaching someone how to groom. It's hard for me to teach someone to groom. But we did consider maybe having a school for me to have people come to my store and me teach them how to groom. Since there is no grooming school out there. I was actually the last grooming school before they shut a lot of them down. So I was thinking about that, but it might be down the road. Right now, it's just my life is too busy grooming, so I don't really have time to sit there and teach anybody.
Yeah, the future kind of looks like there's some option for you to expand in multiple pathways there, to be a teacher and a business owner, and to really create that new and future grooming community, which is really neat.
Yeah.
So something that people ask in previous webinars is, what advice do you have for them? So we'll go with Lorraine. Lorraine, what advice do you have for people who want to start a business and are either at that, I have this idea and I feel like it can be really good, I just don't know where to start?
Well, I first personally believe in dreams. And I believe that we need to all think about what are those things in life that bring us joy and happiness, and really looking at, from a business perspective, what you want to be a part of. Again, as I did when after college, really have to sit down and look into my soul and my abilities, and being able to identify what I was good at. In the beginning, I really did think I could do it all. And I couldn't. I am not a proofreader at all. I will read something and not recognize that it's misspelled or the capitalization is not correct. And proofreading is an important part of communications. And so I really think, to look hard at what you enjoy. I also look at sharing those ideas with others. Like I said, with Adele, I would have never thought about starting my own business. I didn't have the confidence. It's just not something I even thought of until she brought it to me. And so now I have been sharing my hopes and dreams with a lot of people. And this is a personal one, but I hope that it will inspire people to fulfill their hopes and dreams. So as a child, I could relate to Snoopy of the comic strip Peanuts. And for whatever reason, that character of Snoopy made me happy. So I had in my mind that I wanted to meet Charles Schulz. That was, now call it a big dream, realistic or not, but that was my dream. And so I told people that for years and years and years. And then when I was 23, somebody called me up and said, there's a meeting in Santa Rosa, California that we would like you to attend. And we have set up what they called a grip and grin meeting. It's a 2-minute introductory meeting with Charles Schulz. You will go there, you will shake his hand, you will get your picture, and you will leave. I'm like, okay, dream come true. Well, the dream was actually bigger because Mr. Schulz, he asked me to call him Sparky. How cool is that? To call this person that you have such great respect for, to say, this is my nickname that I ask people to call me who know me. So Sparky had just had a stroke. And he had never talked to anybody about disability and what it was like, because his life had changed. And anyway, the long story of it is we worked together for 2 years. It was an incredible gift that would not have happened if I didn't share it with others. So my latest gift is the house behind me is known as a little yellow house. It's in Conway, Arkansas. It's a model house for the short-term rental industry, of what a short-term rental industry property would look like if it had mobility, vision, hearing, cognitive access, along with our senior access. So we have this property. Well, now my dream is to have more properties. So I'm reaching out to Coach Mike Krzyzewski, the former Duke basketball coach, to build a little blue house in Durham, North Carolina, near the Children's Hospital, because there's always a need for accessible rentals near hospitals. Nothing has come true yet, but I've put it out there. And that's what I think is important as we look at our careers, as we look at growing our businesses, to be sure to share those professional ideas and needs. And Andrea, I know you're going to find a groomer because you're putting it out there. And sometimes in the least way that you find, somebody may come to you. In fact, a friend of ours just got a puppy and he needed a groomer. And do you know where they found that groomer? In a grocery store. I promise you that they were in a grocery store. This family had a service dog exactly like Michael's puppy that they just got. They started talking about dogs and they needed to find a groomer. And then the grocery store at Harris Teeter in Raleigh, North Carolina, he found his groomer. So keep sharing, because when you share those things, people go, wait a minute, I know somebody. Oh, wait a minute. In fact, why I'm here today is to talk and to share, but I don't know the sponsoring organization that is a part of this. And I want to get to know more people. So to share our ideas to see change. And so my biggest thing is for people to share it with your church, share it with your family, share it with your next door neighbor, share at the grocery store. And that would be my recommendation.
The internship and volunteer.
I really love that, Lorraine, because I believe that things, the moment you share it or speak it out loud, you bring life into that idea, or you bring life into that ask that you're asking your community. Thank you. Andrea, you started your first business when you were 17. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs who are maybe at that age now, or they're in their 20s thinking, how am I going to do this? I'm only 21. What advice do you have for younger entrepreneurs?
Well, I started doing internships, and I started to do, so my first career was when I was 17 years old. I own my own candy business. And to really start the business up, I actually did an internship at another candy store. And he was the one who actually taught me how to make candy, do the cash registers, do ice cream, he even taught me how to do the lottery. And then he liked me so much that he was going to hire me. But at that point, I already was wanting to do a candy business. So I started the candy kiosk for Annie's Candies. And so I started small. And then when that was done, then I went into a flower store, and we asked them if it's okay if I have a spot in their flower shop. And they said, sure. So you have to start small, and you have to do internships. And that's how I kind of started my own businesses, is to do those things. Then you work yourself up. And then that's when you rent stores and you pay the rent, and then, you go from there, and then you become successful. So you have to really start small and just ask around, what kind of place can I go to do an internship to see if I like it? And then you go from there.
I think the theme here. Oh, yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm so glad that you mentioned internships, because when I went to DC my junior year in college, it was for an internship. And I learned so much from that internship about me and my skills that every year since, I hire an intern. And that has been my commitment to education and helping somebody in their careers, is by having interns. And it's really a very valuable, it's a hard thing as a CEO. There's a lot of work in bringing on an intern, because it is about education and awareness and teaching. But internships are valuable for both parties. And again, it's looking at making it mutually beneficial for both parties. But internships was what got me where I am today. So thank you for bringing that up.
Perfect. And I heard from all of you, just ask. Ask a question, ask how you can learn more, ask who you can meet, and just put out there what your goals are, because it is way more powerful to share it than to keep it to yourself. All right, I am going to share my screen again so we can kind of focus on the questions that have come in for today. Hold on one second. Perfect. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And before we head into the Q&A portion of today's session, I just would love for us to take a moment to thank Andrea, Lorraine, and Mona for sharing their stories and expertise with us. I encourage all of you to reach out and learn more about Puppy Love Dog Boutique and Becoming rentABLE, to build connections and community, and to just learn more about their businesses. Now, personally, if you know someone who is a dog groomer in Andrea's area, reach out. And if you are looking to travel, or if you have an Airbnb or some sort of rental and you want to make that accessible to more travelers, reach out to Lorraine. You can find their contact information on this slide, as well as their business websites. And then Mona, I just know that you have a pretty amazing event coming up. Do you want to share just a little bit about the World of Possibilities Disabilities Expo?
Yes, thank you. We have been running the World of Possibilities Disabilities Expo since 2004. My husband and I, we still do it with private funding, very little funding. We have free wheelchair repair. We have assistive and adaptive technology, sign language interpreters, personal care attendants in the bathrooms, vendors, community support agencies, all kinds of DME, durable medical equipment. We have fun, food, entrepreneurs with disabilities, artists with disabilities. And it is a huge day of resources, networking, fun, laughing, crying, having, feeling like you can belong and meet people, and people will walk out with a bag full of of things in, that they could use as resources, and they feel that they've become empowered and they're not getting to the point of fix me, because once you get to that point, it's very, very difficult. So it is for children, adults, seniors, veterans, baby boomers, people headed down that road. And it's for, individuals with disabilities and those who serve and love them. So we will have administrators and everyone. So people, sometimes they stay the whole day and get a little workshop information or a demo, and sometimes they just run in and grab resources and leave. But it is worldofpossibilities.org. And it is, I probably have done about 100 of them, but we have chosen Prince George's County. Is it the nation's capital area? It has a good reach, nice central location, and the next closest expos would be way up in New York or Chicago. So it is worth the trip. They are regional and they are cross disabilities. So it is for any and all disabilities, cognitive, medical, physical, learning, anything. So everybody has something in common if you're, in that world, that maze of disabilities. So thank you for letting me tell everyone. Oh, it's April. Thank you, Andrea. It's April 22nd at the Samuel Riggs Alumni Center, College Park University, big university, lots of accessible parking, and it's really worth the trip if you're in this region. Cherry blossom time, so you can come into the DC area. It's a very nice time of year.
Thank you so much for sharing about that expo. Ruth did drop a link where you can learn more about it, register, and go visit.
Free.
Yeah. And then so here are the contact information for Andrea, Mona, and Lorraine. Please reach out to them, connect, grow your networks, and see how you can help each other. And then if you have any questions for Molly and I, or if you'd like to connect with us, please feel free to reach out to us via email. Molly will go ahead and drop our contact information into the chat box. And then let's get into the Q&A. Molly, do you have any questions or comments for the group that we can chat about?
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Molly Sullivan speaking with Griffin-Hammis, Sierra's colleague. And first of all, just a quick, huge thank you both to Lorraine and Andrea and Mona for sharing all of that wonderful information. I've just been sitting here smiling from ear to ear, enjoying everything you've been sharing. There's a few questions that have come in. So the first one goes back to a little bit earlier in our time together. And Lorraine, if you could keep your ears extra open for this one, I think this may have been related to something you shared, not positive, but the question was, it was asking, what is, and this is in quotes, what brings me joy, brings me happiness? Is that an assessment?
An assessment. I don't know.
You had brought it up when we were talking about your business at first and realizing your happiness, or you at your best is at the beach house.
Right. And looking at, I guess I looked at it in the sense of I'm starting a new venture, and what do I want in that new venture, and creating that adventure or venture. And for me, it needed to reflect on things that bring me joy and make me happy, knowing that that's an important part of my growth in my business, that I can bring my team members, my community, the work that we do, may there be an element of joy and purpose as we build what we're doing. So a personal assessment, yes. Great. As well as to a degree a professional one, but yes.
Great, wonderful. Thank you. So the next question is, if either of you have ever tried to recruit using vocational rehabilitation in terms of growing your team?
I have not.
Not yet. No, not yet.
There were a couple comments in the chat box. Just a few people mentioned that and we've got a number of people from different states with vocational rehabilitation agencies in different states. And a few people pointed out that the vocational rehabilitation agencies often have on-the-job training support. So that was put out there as a possibility, and we'll pay for training. So great. I've got one more question, and that is, if you think about sort of the evolution of your venture, your let's go with your current business, since you all have such wonderful multiple experiences with your current venture. How has your team evolved or changed? If you think about who was providing you support when you were just sort of building this idea and putting the idea together kind of in that planning stage, versus how did your team change when you were launching your business? And has your team then also then evolved now that you're maintaining and growing your business?
I know for me, there has been an evolution of long-term commitment. Again, our first year and 3 quarters has been focused on developing who we are, what we want to do, and how to go about it. There's been a degree of philosophical discussions in creating what becoming rentABLE could look like, should look like, is looking like. And now that we are moving forward with new relationships in the business community, those our team members, they're changing in what roles they play, in their own responsibilities, their participation or not participation. It's also changing in reflecting about current needs and future needs. We know that we are known as a tech company, which really surprises me because I don't look like, I'm not technical. I'm the least technical probably of anybody out there. I ask Alexander, can you help mom on her phone? I pushed a button, so I don't think technology in that way, but you use technology to access our website, and it's geared towards a technology focus. And so our needs from a technological standpoint are now in need a lot more than they were in our first year, because we were in the development stage of who we want to be. So now we're looking into areas of development that we didn't look at as a need, and now not only as a need, but as hiring out to do those services, and looking at the dynamics of our team, the personality of our team, and really look at the different levels of how we communicate, when we work together, when we meet, and all of those things. So it's really been we're new, and so we're still evolving, but that's been in the last 6 months, a big part of our growth and development is that the team experience and what that looks like. And it looks very different today than it did 6 months ago. And I'm sure will look very different in the next 6 months.
Great. Thanks for that, Lorraine.
May I
Andrea?
jump in for a second? With Andrea's team, she's been doing this now for 4 years. So, the team that got her started, her family and those supports, she's using that less and less now. She's really become much more independent, less questions, less support. And not everybody wants to grow, and grow. There are lots of companies that, she could probably someday open up franchises or places all over, and grow that way. But, it really depends on what you want and how much growth you want. She wants to sustain this business and make sure, she can do it independently. Her parents are getting older. We're older than Lorraine. So, yeah. So yeah, it's not like, the team may not grow except for maybe an employee.
A lot
here
of
or there.
times, what's also good, including the grooming business, is it's might not be good to have a franchise or a second store. It might always be good just to have one store, but get more groomers. Because there is groomers that stores that have 3-4 groomers, but they have one store. So sometimes the grooming field is not the greatest to franchise, because then your business kind of goes downhill. So if you
Mhm.
actually have one store, one business that the owner is there, then you'll be more successful and have more clients, and then you have more groomers in that one store.
Wonderful. It's helpful to hear. It seems like for both of you, there's been some evolution in your team and how you use them over time, which makes sense. Yeah. Another question just came into the chat box. Sierra, do we have a couple minutes for that? I think we're okay for time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I
Okay.
think it would be great if it sounds like this connection could also go beyond a conversation here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So definitely, if you haven't already, take a picture of the screen that you're seeing or write down the email for Andrea and
Yeah.
Lorraine.
Yeah. Wonderful. So, Brian, who is with an organization called Opportunity Development Center in Wisconsin, was asking if you could share your time frame from start to finish when beginning your self-employment ventures. And before you answer, what I would also say is just a shout out to Brian. We've popped contact information for Andrea and Lorraine in the chat box. So you may want to reach out to them specifically if you want more than what we can share in the few minutes we have left. But yeah, so Lorraine and Andrea, if you could share a little bit about your time frame from start to finish, or to not finish, start to now. Nothing's finished.
Right. For Woodward Communications, I knew that I wanted a full-time salaried position. So when Easter Seals could only afford a part-time position, I moved forward very quickly in identifying my consulting services, because I was not in a financial position to extend that lack of revenue for a long period of time. So it was a very short window. And I still paint canes. I've been doing that for, about 15 years. So that was very quick too. It was more of a need as my children were growing up and they need a cane. I was looking at, what kinds of canes are out there for young men and boys. And I didn't see anything. So I tend to look at what the needs are and what's out there. And I jump on pretty quickly. Becoming rentABLE has been the exception, that we really looked at a 3-year window of building who we are, and have been more methodical about our business and our approach, and looking at not focusing on the revenue first, which is not common in building a business. But I like to take different approaches. So, but I felt like that's what we needed to do as we're tackling a new issue in a large industry. So we're ahead of that time period, and we're adjusting accordingly. For example, we're just now unveiling our evaluation certification program for mobility. Although we have 5 areas of focus on our website, our cognitive, vision, and hearing are in 3rd and 4th quarter development of this year, and our aging materials will be developed for 1st quarter of the next year. So the evolution is really planning for the future, and we've put a lot more time and energy in identifying this business. My first ones were pretty quick, and this one, I don't know if it's because I need more naps no, or or what, but it is, we're building this a little slower.
Yeah, I hear that a lot more development going into
Yes.
this business for sure. Yeah. And Andrea, what about you? What did your timeline look like?
Well, I started well in 2019, before the pandemic. I actually learned how to bathe first for about a year. Then after, when I started bathing dogs, learning how to blow dry and bathe dogs, and then I went to school. So I did school about for 4 months, and then I graduated in December of 2018. And then I started grooming from 2019. And then I know a lot of people's business went out of business in 2020,
Mm,
but mine actually boomed real quickly in 2020 because I was selling dog treats and dog food. And so when you're allowed to sell that stuff, I was allowed to groom. So I really became very busy around 2020, and that's really how my business kind of started. But yeah, I started small, and I started bathing first, then I started grooming.
got it. Great. Thanks so much. Thank you both for your time in answering those questions. That's what we've got in the chat for now. Sierra?
Thank you, Molly.
Mm.
All right. I would love to share the upcoming events with the National Disability Institute team. And I won't go through all the detail here, but the team will put the link for the actual event page. So then you can go ahead and register for all of these and future events. But we have a session series on entrepreneurship, disability, and CDFIs, with a session 3, 4, and 5 presented by Life Asset, Northwest Access Fund, and the Disability Opportunity Fund. In April, we have an event called Creating Accessible Content for Content Creators, and that's presented by Results One LLC. And then you'll see us again for another presentation on April 19th, and it's titled Business Feasibility and Creating a Plan. And that webinar, just like this, will feature 2 entrepreneurs who can share with us their real life experiences on this topic. And then I am going to pass the screen over to the NDI team. Caroline, I think if you want to take over, that'd be great.
Thank you so much. And just want to echo, thank you to Mona, Andrea, and Lorraine for just an amazing presentation. Just so inspiring to hear what you achieved and to know more about your business. So thank you for that. So just a bit about the NDI small business team. Maybe you're sitting here thinking, gosh, I have an idea. I would love to start my own business, or I have started a business, but I would really love help to grow it, to build it. Or maybe you're working with somebody who is thinking about that and you don't know where to start. So absolutely, have a look at our website at www.disabilitysmallbusiness.org. or email our community navigator, Ruth Chavis, and that's RCHAVEZ @ndi-inc.org. And there you'll find lots of resources, and we'd love to connect with you to see how we can help you build and grow your business. Another potential help is with key financial health. So in order to grow a business, as we heard today, it's important to also think about the financial health of that business. We are currently running a cohort. That one's full, but we do have a new series that is starting in the summer. So if you want to join a learning community that really focuses on things like pricing and understanding your numbers and how to pitch and how to access capital, please feel free to email me, Caroline Bolas at cbolas@ndi-inc.org. A few other places you can find some resources really focusing on disability-owned small businesses. One is our streaming TV channel. You can find this at www.disabilityowned.com. And then we are partnering with Verizon Small Business, their Verizon Small Business Digital Ready program, which provides free training, mentoring, business coaching, and grant opportunities. If you use the link that is here, and we'll also put it in the chat box, again, you can register for free and access those online learning tools that are very visual, short, to the point, and really get the message across really well. And then if you haven't already and you want to stay in the know and learn about what else we're doing, please join our mailing list. And again, we'll put that link in the chat box. Our small but mighty small business team. We have Nikki Paris, our director. We have Ruth, who, as I said, if you want to connect to find out more about our resources, please contact Ruth. We have Alexis Jones, Lexi, who is the brains behind making sure our webinars and everything else works smoothly, and myself, who provides support also to small businesses. So please do keep in touch.
And I'm on mute, sorry. Caroline, thank you so much. And again, thank you to Andrea, Lorraine, and Mona for sharing your expertise and knowledge with us today. And please reach out to them to learn more about their business and maybe put out your ask and your goals as well. All right, everyone, thank you for being here. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording. I hope all of you have an amazing day and an amazing rest of the week.
Thank you.
Thank you.